of Northern California. This is KNBR Tonight.
Way back there, it is gone! A home run for FP Santangelo.
With FP Santangelo.
A three-run shot, and the Giants lead 4-1.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Sports Leader.
What's going on, everybody? FP Santangelo here in the downtown studios with Rafael Corral behind the glass. Was anybody else during the game tonight going, Phil Nevin, don't hurt my Shohei Ohtani? If he's hurt, get him out of there. I was worried for a second. Giants lose a 4-1 to the Angels. They lose the series. They're cruising back home to play Bruce Bochy's club this weekend. That'll be an interesting series. I don't even know where to start on this one tonight. There's a couple takeaways from the ball game. I'm trying to figure out a way not to be too critical, but I was digging what Sean Manaea was doing tonight on the mound. He was absolutely dealing. Like he's embraced whatever role. Like whatever you think about Sean Manaea, he's a great teammate. This is a guy, they ask him to close, he closes. This is a guy that did bulk guy, okay. Yeah, we need you to be an opener. Whatever, I'll do it. He's a team guy. And he's not only a team guy, he's flourishing as a team guy. And that's all about mindset. That's all about wrapping your head around the role and saying, okay, well, if this is the hand I'm dealt and I can't be a starter and I'm not a closer, I'll just do whatever I can to help the team. Baseball needs more guys like this. I would love to be a teammate of Sean Manaea's. On the plane, he's all smiles. He takes surveys. He has a piece of paper and he'll walk up and down the aisle, look at you and smile and say, how are you doing? What's your favorite fast food restaurant? And then, he always gets on the bus and says, good morning, good morning, good morning. It could be a night game and he gets on the bus and says, good morning, good morning. He's always got a smile on his face. And then whatever Gabe asks him to do, he does. And he just doesn't do it. He does it well. And that's a talent in and of itself, because in a game where there's so many egos and there's so much money to be made, a lot of guys would have their agents call in Farhan and say, what is my guy doing? A lot of guys would say, I don't want to do this. Trade me right now, and hang up the phone. But Sean Manaea goes out there and absolutely gets it done. He went 4 innings tonight, struck out 6, walked 1. He faced 14 hitters and he just looked confident. He was going after guys. He had better stuff than Shohei Ohtani tonight. He had better stuff than maybe one of the best players to ever play the game. So super excited about what I saw from Manaea tonight. I won't say I would have left him in because they have a plan, but I would have left him in because I don't have a plan. I'm just a radio guy. What do I know? I just like what I was seeing from him. I like him facing Ohtani right there. Let's go. Bring it on, bro. Like my best bolt against your best bolt, left on left. What do you got? Let's do this. But I also understand that that's the way Gabe manages, and, it's worked for him. But every once in a while, there's some gut decisions where I just like, just let him go a little bit longer. This dude's dealing tonight, and you never know what's coming in. That was the thing. Like, I managed for a couple of months in A-ball, and I learned real quick that, like, what you got on the mound, you can see with your eyes, and what you got in the bullpen, you have no idea when those barn doors open what's coming in. And Tristan Beck has been lights out. He has been so good. So I get it. It just didn't work tonight, and then when it doesn't work, you start going, why are we doing the opener thing again? This is BS. When it works, it's like, this is great. The opener is not paying for dinner in town anywhere. The opener hasn't bought a drink in San Francisco all season. Hi, I'm the opener. I'm 15-5. Oh, hey, everything's free. So what do you do? I'm an opener for the Giants. No way. Here's a car. If you're single and you're an opener, that line's working right now. Way better than I'm the bolt guy. What do you do? My name's Ryan Walker, and I'm an opener. By the way, while I'm on one right now, drinking my first cup of coffee tonight, Ryan Walker should be a starting pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. So if I'm going to be radio shock jock guy tonight, that's my hot take. I want to see that dude start games. I want to see him go 5 and dive or 6 strong, because he's filthy, dirty, and rotten. I wouldn't want to hit off him left-handed, let alone right-handed, where he's stepping behind me. He's throwing the ball to the third base dugout. He's like high-fiving the third base coach on his delivery and then dropping nasty sliders from one side of the plate to the other. I don't know. I want to see that guy pitch more than 2 innings. I don't know how long it's going to last with the crossfire thing, knock on wood. But while I got him, he'd be one of my starters. I just throw him out there every fifth day and see what you got, bro, because he is dirty. The other thing is, and this is going to be a little bit critical, and you guys know him for the most part, I'm positive. If I'm pitching against the Giants and they got a rally going and here they come, like I used to talk to Kurt Reeder about this all the time. He said if there was a presence in a lineup, I was always aware of that presence. And that presence would affect the way I pitched 1, 2, 3, 4 guys ahead of him because I always knew where that presence was. So if, say, it was Jeff Bagwell or whoever back in the day, Woody would always tell me that he knew where that presence was and he had to do his due diligence before that guy got up there, but he always felt it. And just feeling that guy in the dugout, just feeling that guy putting his helmet on, his batting gloves before he got to the next circle, he knew he had to be lights out to this guy, and this guy before that guy got up there. And it affected the way he pitched this guy, and this guy before that guy got up there. I don't know who that guy is right now for the Giants. There's a lot of good hitters. Lamont Wade Jr. is a good hitter. Tyro Stroud is a good hitter. Wilmer Flores is a really good hitter, a professional at-bat every single time. Jock Peterson, I'm not sure. One day he is, one day he isn't. I'm not sure what's going on with Jock. J.D. Davis is a good hitter. Like Michael Conforto needs to pick it up because they got him to swing the bat, but he's a good hitter. But is there a guy where if you're pitching against the Giants, you're like, he's 2 hitters away, he's 1 hitter away, here he comes. And maybe Shohei's that guy next year. I don't know. I just hope they were really nice to Shohei Ohtani this week. I hope they all made friends. I hope they're all Facebook friends, Instagram buddies. I hope they follow each other now. I hope they're DMing each other left and right, tell them to come to San Francisco. I wonder if Major League Baseball searches your DMs on Instagram to see if you're tampering. Do you think they do? I think they do go into Mike Yastrzemski's Instagram and be like, hey, are you DMing Shohei Ohtani and tell him to come to San Francisco? Are you sliding in his DM? He wasn't that great tonight. I was so excited. I didn't want him to deal, but I kind of wanted to be awed a little bit. Like, ooh, that sweeper is disgusting. And I've seen it before. But, I mean, he is human. Still want him in orange and black next year. And, I mean, the bottom line is you can't win 1-0 every night. Were you guys thinking that? Like, oh, this 1-0's got to hold on. They can do it 1-0 again. You can't go about it that way in the big league. So they lose 4-1. The schedule in August is relentless. Here come the Texas Rangers. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I really don't. A.J. Pollock's gone for 3 weeks. I'm not even sure what that is. I still not sure what that is or what that means. They were trying to catch lightning in a bottle with a guy hitting 165, but you never know. But that's put on hold right now. So 808 KNBR, let's take some phone calls. I'm here till midnight tonight. We're here a couple hours. You can play with each other and have a good time and take your phone calls. I want to get into some other things. There's some news about Jed York and the 49ers I want to get into. I don't think it's a big deal. Whatever. It's my job to report it. Michael Lorenzen threw a no-hitter against the Nationals tonight, 124 pitches. 14th no-hitter in Phillies history. Walked 4, struck out 5. In his home debut, his family's reaction, if you saw it, was amazing. So we're going to talk about that, no-hitters, and maybe the best no-hitter you've ever seen. Let's go to the phones. There's people that have been on hold since the post-game wrap. You guys are fired up tonight, I have a feeling. So let's have some fun. Let's talk some Giants baseball, and we'll get to the other things later. Jeff in Oakland, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm firing some coffee down right now, trying to get fired up for the show. So help me. Help you.
Yeah. I don't usually call in, but I think I'm struggling a little bit. I'm just watching this lineup, the bats, and they seem a little tepid at this point. It's sort of tough to watch. I feel like there's a lot of guys who really had a lot of momentum in the first half that are struggling, and just get your thoughts about that.
Well, I mean, hey, if I knew how to solve this, I wouldn't be behind a microphone at 9:51 at night talking post-game show. I'd be in a uniform, and I'd be coaching these guys up. I was a hitting coach for a while in the minor leagues in San Jose, and, I mean, it's tough when your whole team is cold, minus maybe 1 or 2 guys. It's really hard on a hitting coach. It's really hard on a manager. I think the more you talk about it, the more you address it, the worse it gets. Sometimes human nature.
Like these guys can turn it around. I mean, they were so hot in the first half, and there were so many guys hitting at the same time.
I do think they can turn it around because there's ebbs and flows in the game. the one thing I would say is they're playing some pretty good staffs and some pretty good pitchers coming up. Max Scherzer dealt the other night for the Rangers, and they're playing well. What I would say is if I had to do it all over again, and this is just a personal take and personal preference, and I can't speak for every single guy that has a bat in the Giants dugout, there's a natural tendency to work harder when you're struggling. It makes you feel better. It eases your mind. It gives you confidence. And a lot of times when you're struggling and you get there early and you take so many hacks, what happens is the opposite result of what you want, because you're actually making your body more fatigued in the month of August. Your brain is wasting tons of energy in the cage trying to solve the Rubik's Cube of how I get out of this thing and where do I put my hands and when do I start my load? What do I do? Where's my swing plane going? This and that. So you're really grinding hours before the game, both mentally and physically. A lot of times you get to the game, your bat feels like the left field foul pole because the reason you got to the big leagues as a player is you worked your ass off. The reason you stay in the big leagues as a player is because you work your ass off. But every once in a while, it's okay to just show up, grab your bat, and hit. Meaning, don't think, just see ball, hit ball. Keep your head still. Keep it simple. Like one positive command before you get in the box. Have a game plan. But it was always hard for me because I felt like I was cheating myself if I didn't get my work in. You get to become so routine oriented that if I didn't hit my tee every day and finish it with 10 balls off the back of the cage, rising line drives in a row, I was kind of OCD in that sense. So, but looking back, I wish in the middle of some of my slumps, I would have had the wherewithal. I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for. The knowledge, the confidence, I guess, the security in my ability to just show up and just have an American Legion game where you just grab your bat, put your batting gloves on, and go hit your first at-bat. I think that's the way you get out of these things. And all these guys are a blue pit away from relaxing. It's more of a relaxation thing than a physical thing at this point. We used to have hitting coaches say, if you ain't got it by now, you ain't going to get it. And when you're in the middle of August, if you ain't got it by now, you ain't going to get it. So what do? You just go out there and compete. Just go compete. That's all you can do.
It's easy to be critical at this point, but they've played so well to this point. So I'm happy with the team, but you just see nights like tonight, and you see nights like the last few where they just, since the break, they just haven't hit.
Well, they faced one of the best pitchers on the planet tonight too. Even though he didn't have his A stuff, it's still there's reputation, guys. When you face Greg Maddux, he could have his B stuff, but he was Greg freaking Maddux standing out there. So there's that mind game that goes on too. Shohei Ohtani go out there with his B or C stuff, but that's Shohei Ohtani on the mound. Max Scherzer, same thing. There's certain Justin Verlander. There's certain pitchers in baseball that have reputation, and they already have 2 scoreless innings before the game starts, just based on the back of their baseball card. And Ohtani's one of those guys. So I don't know.
What was it like to face Greg Maddux?
It was a comfortable 0 for 4. You hit the ball hard 2 or 3 times, and you look up, you're 0 for 4 every time. He wanted you to swing early. He didn't care about little guys. He would groove pitches to me all the time. I struck out a lot with my hands in the air because he had that front hip sinker that would paralyze you and come back like a wiffle ball at the last second. He had 95 in the tank when he wanted it with a runner on third, less than 2 outs. He'd turn into a different pitcher because that was his run. Everything would be more crisp and more sharp. He was on cruise control until he didn't have to be. But he was a fierce competitor. He would watch you on deck and see your on deck swing and know what you were looking for based on how you were swinging on deck. That's how intelligent he was.
Hey, FP. Love you, man. Thank you so much.
All right, Jeff. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Glenn in Visalia. Glenn, is Crash Davis still the manager in Visalia?
I don't know, FP. FP, would you answer these 3 questions for me?
I one at a time. 3's a lot, especially at 10 at night.
Yes. Did Ohtani pitch tonight? The answer is yes.
Wait,
Ohtani...
Are you asking me the questions and then answer them yourself?
Did he pitch tonight? Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Are you going to ask me 3 questions? Yes.
Okay. Here's my question. Here's my real question to you.
I'm such a smart ass. Okay. Go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry. I'm the smart ass right now. What do you got?
After Ohtani came out in the 7th inning, how was he able to DH and stay in the game when he bat and hits There's only 9 positions for players, FP.
He was a designated hitter, though, to start tonight. He was a DH.
And he pitched.
Yeah.
And he pitched.
Yeah.
His pitching took away his DH.
No, it didn't. He was a DH, and he was the pitcher. That's fine. You can do that.
Why didn't that?
It's called the Ohtani rule, actually. It's made for him.
Come on, Frank.
I'm serious. It's the Ohtani rule.
So, only Ohtani gets to pitch and get bat?
No. If Michael Lorenzen, who threw a no-hitter today for the Phillies, who was a two-way player when he was a Cincinnati Red, wanted to hit tonight, and his manager, Rob Thompson, wanted him to hit, he could have DH'd too and pitched.
So
which is the Ohtani rule, not the Michael Lorenzen rule.
All 30 teams could do what the Angels did.
Yeah, Logan Webb can DH the next time he pitches, if you want, and maybe you try it. He can hit
and hit.
Yeah.
I thought they only had 9 players, but
They did. They
smart ass FP.
No, they did have 9 players. I'm looking at the lineup right here. There's 9 people in the lineup, and then there's a pitcher. There's 9 people. There's 9 people. There's 9 people in the Giants lineup tonight, and Ryan Walker. So there's really 10 every night with a designated hitter.
But Ryan Walker did not hit, Frank.
Because he's not a DH, Glenn.
I just don't understand.
Wait, Glenn, Google it. It's the Ohtani rule. Google it. It's a rule. You can DH and pitch. You're arguing with me. Look it up. It's a fact. Let's go to Jonathan in Walnut Creek. Jonathan, you're on KNBR.
ASP, how you doing?
I'm pissed. How are you doing?
Hopefully I won't piss you off more.
I'm kidding. I don't get upset on this show.
Just wanted to talk about the lack of presence in the lineup. I completely agree with you. But frankly, we haven't had this for years. And I want to ask you, and I'm going to be asking you a question on like the last.
Are you going to answer it too?
No, I'm not.
You can.
Who is accountable for that, especially in the past, let's say 3 to 5 years where Farhan has been in his regime? I mean, isn't it his job to acquire a free agent? We've swung and missed the past 5 years on Stanton, Harper, Judge, and I kind of laugh when we hear about this Ohtani. Ohtani might come to the Giants. What in the past 5 years makes you think that Ohtani will come to the Giants when they haven't been able to land anyone, even at the deadline? I mean, you look at the Lorenzen trade today. I mean, to me, that was it kind of shows you what a small trade deadline move can do. But yeah, my question is how do we get that presence in that lineup if we're not getting it from our GM?
Well, I don't know. I can't answer that. I do know they swung and missed and threw $750 million at 2 players in the offseason, and it's a two-way street, right? It's not like you just go out and buy somebody. They got to want to come to you, too. So I don't know how you solve that problem. The one thing I would say about Shohei Ohtani is if he's the only guy in the Giants lineup, I'm going to pitch to Jock Peterson, no offense, instead of Shohei Ohtani. I'm going to pitch to Wilmer Flores, no offense, instead of Shohei Ohtani, and you might just have Barry Bonds Part 2 on your hand unless Juan Soto comes with Shohei Ohtani. Unless you pay Shohei Ohtani $800 million and Juan Soto $400 million, and then now you got to pitch to somebody. And that lineup gets a little bit deeper with 2 guys in it. But if you just go out and get Ohtani, the Giants walked him tonight, and you're going to get the Barry Bonds treatment if he's by himself. And this is no offense to anybody else, but that's why I think you need 2 or 3 presences in the lineup to protect each other. I'm not letting Shohei beat me if he's in the lineup I'm looking at right now on my screen. And that's no offense to guys that are way better players than I ever was. It's just if you just sign him, you get a really good pitcher. I just don't know that he'll put up the numbers at Oracle Park as a hitter unless you go and get 2 or 3 guys. Now you're going, oh, all right. Now pick your poison. Like if, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith, and then you're just like, okay, where do I go here? And then you pick the lesser of the evils. But if it's just one guy, like we saw with Barry when he walked 200 whatever times a year, you just pitch around him. He's not going to beat me. And Gabe said as much before the series. If there's a situation where he can drive in a run, there's a base open, he's not going to beat me.
Completely agree. And, in free agency, it's also player dependent too. They got to, come here. So it's not always on these GMs as, they try. But I think that's why I was a little surprised, if they can't get it done in free agency. And let's just say, I can totally understand hitters not wanting to come to this ballpark. What you do have a little bit more control on is the deadline. And that's why, I was kind of surprised by the lackluster deadline. And I just, I don't see a lot of a path to success this year, but I'm kind of looking towards next year, and I don't know about this regime. That's all.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's big boy sports. Everybody's accountable, and if it doesn't go the way ownership wants it to, I'm sure they'll evaluate, and then that's all you can do. Thanks for the call, Jonathan. I appreciate it. For those of you taking notes while you're driving, which I always recommend, always take notes while you're driving. The Ohtani rule is a rule that allows the pitcher to be assigned to the designated hitter spot in the batting order and remain as the designated hitter even if replaced on the mound by another pitcher. What? That's the Shohei Ohtani rule. And if you want to argue about it, Google it. It's right there. Let's go to Nick in Santa Rosa. Nick, you're on KNBR.
Hey, JP. How's it going?
It's going good, Frank. How are you?
Pretty good. So I was listening to the radio show this morning, and they had an interview with Mike Krukow, I believe. And he was talking about how the Giants haven't had a lot of hard contact. And they're actually like the last team, I think, since the All-Star break, in the standings as far as hard contact. But tonight, I feel like I saw a lot more hard contact, even though they were outs. So I just wanted to touch base on that, and that was something nice to see from them. And I just want to keep seeing it. Just hard contact, even if it's for outs, just make it happen. Hit the ball hard.
Loud noises, dude. It's all about loud noises. You got to make some loud noises every night. That's what we used to call it. We didn't have exit velocity back in the day. We didn't have launch angle. It was just like, hey, let's make some loud noises tonight. Let's do it. You try to barrel up some baseballs, and we used to just say he hit the S out of that ball. We didn't say it had an exit velo of 110.
Right, exactly. That's my point. Make hard contact. And Krukow's point was that if you make hard contact, it kind of gets your team going. It gets your fan base going, especially if you're at home. And I just hope they keep that up, and I want to see them keep doing it.
No, Mike's right. But how do you make hard contact? That's the thing. We talk about quality at bats, and everyone just throws terms around like quality at bats. What is a quality at bat? To me, a quality at bat is having a game plan, walking in the batter's box, sticking with that game plan, no matter what the little man's saying in your head in front of 40,000 people on TV. That little man in your head could tell you all kinds of things, like, I'm looking for a fastball away. No, send a curveball right here. And you start to switch your game plan in the middle of an at bat. If you stick to your at bat, you barrel up a baseball. That's a quality at bat to me. So how do you barrel up baseballs? Well, you pick a pitch in a zone, you sit on that pitch, and when you get that pitch in your zone, you get off your A swing on your A pitch. It's a lot easier to say behind a mic at 10 o'clock at night than it is facing Shohei Ohtani. But if you want to have consistent at-bats, you want to have quality at-bats, it's about sticking to your game plan and having a specific game plan. When I talk to my hitters in San Jose, I'd be like, what are you looking for here? Fastball. No. Not just fastball. What zone do you want the fastball in? In, out, up, down? And then when you get it, where are you thinking about driving it? And they would say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking fastball in right here. I'm like, well, that's a dangerous approach because if they throw you anything outside, you're going to be susceptible to that. No, he's busting me in. I'm going fastball in. I'm going to drive it over the left field wall. Okay, that's a game plan. I'll buy it. And I used to ask all my hitters, what are we looking for here? Curveball. What, curveball in the dirt? Curveball over your head? No, I'm looking for a hanger first pitch, a get-me-over curveball that's belt high, and I'm going to drive it right past the pitcher's forehead. Okay, that's a specific game plan. And I think if you can get into that on a daily basis, with such a grind when you have 600 plate appearances, 500 plate appearances, to go up there and concentrate like that for 4 or 5 at-bats every night. It sounds easy, right? Oh, these guys are making millions. Go up there and focus, damn it. Concentrate. But your mind tends to wander. Maybe your mind's thinking about the play you should have made at third base last inning. Maybe your mind's still pissed off about swinging at the ball in the dirt 2 pitches before that, and you get away from your game plan. But it's the hitters that can stay in the present. It's the hitters that can stick with their game plan. It's the hitters that can execute their game plan. It's the hitters that can take all the work they did at 1:30 in the cage to 4 o'clock on the field to 7 o'clock at game time and take all their work and implement it and execute it in the heat of battle at 7 o'clock that separate themselves from others. And so that's when you're talking about barreling up baseballs and quality at-bats, that's what it takes at the highest level. Get your pitch, your eyes light up, and get after it.
I understand that, but they're also talking about Michael Conforto this morning as well. And I completely agree with what they were saying this morning, is Michael Conforto is kind of in a slump right now. But they're also saying that his approach at the plate is really, really good, and he is just barely missing baseballs. And they don't know if that's like a mental thing or what's going on with that. But he has pretty good balance and a really good approach and a really good swing at the plate.
He's a little late for me. He's a little late. He's not on time. And what does on time mean? It means getting your foot down early and keeping your head still. He's just a hair late. When you're a hair late, it's the worst feeling in the world as a hitter because you get your pitch and you execute your game plan. You foul it straight back. There's nothing more frustrating than sitting on a pitch and you spit on 2 borderline ones because you're sticking with your game plan, damn it. Here's your pitch, eyes light up, you get your ace swing off, but your foot's down just a hair late and you foul it straight back. That used to drive me nuts. I would rather pop my pitch up and have an at-bat versus getting my pitch and fouling it straight back. That would piss me off. And I went through a whole season where I fouled pitches straight back, and I tried to get down early, and I tried to make changes, and you're getting your pitch right down the middle or right in the zone you're looking for, and you foul it straight back. You see that, and then as broadcasters are like, well, he was right on that. As a player, that's the most frustrating thing in the world, man. It is. And he does that a lot. He fouls pitches straight back, which tells me he's just a tick off, just a tick late.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a story about, I forgot who it was from Petaluma, but he got drafted to the minors out of high school because he swung and just barely missed a pitch, but he skied the pitch, really high in the air, and the people liked his swing, and he got drafted to the majors that way. So anyways, JP, I got to go inside. So I really like your show. I really like your analysis. And I hope you have a good night.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. Let's go to Steve in Bend, Oregon. Steve, you're on KNBR.
Part of it is old man on the lawn screaming and yelling. Part of it is strategy of what was. Let Mania pitch. The guy was dealing. Kapler has to walk out and say, nope. We're doing openers. You gave up a double. Get out of here. The guy was dealing.
I agree.
He should have pitched to Ohtani.
If you listen to my show, I don't.
He earned it, man.
I never criticized the manager, but tonight I was kind of hoping Sean Mania stayed in.
He earned it, and bringing in a reliever at that point just screws up the whole continuity of it. So anyway, that's my gripe. Thanks.
No, that's fine. I expect to hear more of those. Thanks, Steve. All right, 808 KNBR is the number. I want to get into. We talked about more Shohei Ohtani. Is Ohtani the most talented player of all time? Logan Webb said as much in his locker, I think it was last night or the night before, that he's the most talented player ever, I think was Logan's quotes. Maybe we'll have that coming back from break, and I want to get your opinion on that. I also want to get in the Kevin Brown thing. Something happened to an A's fan this weekend that I can't believe. I want to share that with you. And there's some Jed York news in the news for Jed York news in the news. Next on the Sports Leader.
2-2. The pitch from Minaya is strike 3 called. A fastball right there. 2 down. And Ohtani strikes out for the second time in the game. Pretty good pitching from Sean Minaya.
Minaya looked really good too, and I thought he attacked the strike zone. I thought his fastball had good life. Thought he threw his slider for strikes. I thought he was in control.
Play KNBR at your pad on your Apple HomePod. KNBR Tonight with former Giant F.P. Santangelo. Now continues on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
I'm digging what Sean Benaya's been doing lately. He's a team ball player, and I love team ball players. Whatever they ask him to do, he does it, and he does it well. Turned out to be a really good sign for your San Francisco Giants. I'm going to get deep for a second here, so stay with me. You guys know I like to do this from time to time. Did you hear what happened in Oakland this weekend against the Giants with the fan? I don't know if you guys saw this in the Chronicle today. I wasn't aware. There was 37,553 Saturday, the Bay Bridge Series. Biggest crowd they've had in Oakland this year. And I mentioned on the broadcast that, you know, having played in Montreal in front of 5,000 people when we did have like Dollar Hot Dog Night and there was 50,000, or the Red Sox came into town for interleague play, whatever, and we got to play in front of 40,000 all of a sudden, that it gave us a different gear. That was like our World Series. It was, holy crap, we're playing in front of fans, and it fired us up. So I had a feeling the A's would be ready to play this weekend. This is an off-the-field thing. Some fans were escorted from the suite level at the Coliseum's outfield bleachers by an A's employee for wearing Sell T-shirts. Have you seen these? They're green T-shirts. They say white Sell across the front. The shirts have become a symbol of the movement's message for owner John Fisher to sell the team rather than to relocate. So there was an A's fan named Rob Roberts. He attended Sunday's game with 2 friends. He donned the Sell T-shirts, entering through the outfield bleachers entrance and taking an elevator to the plaza level of the stadium. The fans decided to get some water at the level before heading to their seats. They sat in a general seating area, but soon after, he said a female employee wearing A's credentials told the fans they had to leave because of the Sell T-shirts. They were not allowed at the stadium suite level. The group was then escorted back to the elevator and left the area to avoid causing an issue. Like, what is going on with sports right now? What is going on with baseball more specifically right now? Why are we censoring everything? NBC Sports California, or whoever, NBC Sports California, they re-aired the A's game and they cut out the 5th inning where the fans were chanting, "Sell the team." That's censorship. They're not letting fans wear a Sell T-shirt. That's censorship. Kevin Brown, the play-by-play guy for the Baltimore Orioles, just had a graphic behind him in the open of a show, and he was saying how the Orioles had struggled at the Tropicana Field against Tampa Bay. And he was suspended and is still suspended by the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network and the Baltimore Orioles for simply stating facts. And it was a positive spin about how far they've come and where they were and how they are right now and how good they're playing. Censorship. And I feel like if we're going to start doing this, and I got deep the other night about the Hall of Fame. If we don't tell the story of baseball, both good and bad, is it really the Hall of Fame? The history of our country is good and bad. You go to the Smithsonian Institute in D.C., they have the bad part of American history too. We're not a perfect country. Baseball's not a perfect sport. If fans want to express their sentiment and their frustration over their team that they've probably been fans of for years and years and years of leaving, they want to wear a Sell shirt and they're getting kicked out of the stadium? Like, what is going on in our country? What is going on with sports where we're not telling the whole story? If a broadcaster has a produced graphic behind him that shows where the Orioles were and where they are, and he's making a point that they're in a better place now, but they used to struggle, and the owner of the team is so sensitive that he kicks him off the air for that. They were chanting "Free Kevin Brown" at Camden Yards last night. Kevin Brown, if you don't know, is a young broadcaster that's super talented. He's as good as anybody in the business. He sounds like Joe Buck. He's very articulate. He's very well thought out. He's very clean. And he's been suspended. And apparently the Orioles are backtracking and saying they did, and they're spin control because they're just getting hammered by every broadcaster in the world. Every broadcaster's gone on. Gary Cohn, Sports SNY, went on the other night, crushed the Orioles. Every other Chip Carey last night took a thinly veiled shot saying, well, the Orioles, who have beaten Tampa 270 consecutive times. And so everyone in the industry is taken aback by this. And if everything we say is getting censored or filtered because there's somebody that's sensitive higher up, then what country do we live in if we want to go there? Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. If A's fans want to wear a Sell t-shirt, they should be able to wear a Sell t-shirt. Now, if it says F-U, whatever, John Fisher, okay, well, then clean it up. Maybe then you make them take the shirt off. But if they're so sensitive over there that they're muting an inning where the fans are chanting "Sell the team," I've heard stories about the broadcasters getting in trouble because they didn't talk when they were chanting "Sell the team." They were supposed to talk over it. And now you're kicking out fans at the Coliseum because they have a T-shirt that says "Sell." Like, where do we even live right now? Our society is so sensitive to every little thing. I mean, we used to be a country that if we fell down, we scraped our knee, we'd pick ourselves back up, and we'd keep fighting. And now if we fall down and scrape our knee, there's 47 people to pick us up and tell us that it was the playground's fault, the way they designed it, because you scraped your knee, and we're going to sue the playground. And it's not your fault. It's just a bunch of crap, man. It really pisses me off. Let's go to Al in Modesto. Al, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
What's up, FP? How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. I put you at the top of the line because you want to talk about the A's. What's going on?
Dude, I do. I'm a big Kings fan. I've been a Kings fan since I was a kid. You know, you can't, in my opinion, I feel like once you choose your team, you can't change, regardless of what happens. And to be honest, dude, this whole A's thing is bringing up a lot of emotions with what happened with my team. It's not right, dude. To be honest, it's someone taking something away from you. When people talk about why people get so invested in sports, like, I don't think we even know. It's something that's in our heart. It's something that's in our passion. And for someone just to take it away from you is wrong. It's not right. And I think that with what this guy's doing, I think Manfred just needs to step up. He needs to do what's right and give these fans what they deserve.
Well, I think, Manfred they work for the owners, basically. The commissioner of baseball always has. It's just kind of the dynamic of it. That's why players and owners don't get along. They never have. They never really will. It's just they want to pay us less. We want to make more. There's that whole thing, and you won't open your books. It's a long history of that. The other thing is Manfred needs to get involved in this Orioles thing, because if owners can sit there and say, well, you can't say that. It's okay to have a meeting and say hey, last night when you said this, we didn't love it. And then you're like, oh, my bad. I was in D.C. for 11 years. I never had that meeting once because I felt like I delivered it in a way that was super positive. I found the good in everything, and I was never critical of the team, the organization, or players. I used to get crushed because I wasn't critical enough of the players. But, if something like that happens and then the broadcaster disappears for 2 weeks, that's censorship. That's manipulation. And fans will tell you they want it real. The thing is, if you work for a team and you tell it like it is every night, you ain't going to work for that team very long. If you're like, Jock Peterson's got to make that play. He's awful out there. What is he doing in the outfield? We should be DHing. Guess what? You're broadcasting games for the Modesto Nuts in a week. I mean, there's ways to put it. And then for the A's, I just feel bad for their fans, man. And if their fans can't even express their emotions in a free country, their fans can't even chant "Sell the team," and then you can't play that in a replay of a game, and you can't wear a Sell t-shirt, are we in North Korea? What are we doing? What's going on? You should be able to do whatever the hell you want within reason. And to me, these seem like all within reason. I'm confused. Thanks for the call, Al. Let's go to Alex in Pacifica. Alex, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, SP, I love your show, man. Hey, I couldn't agree with you more about that censorship, and I think it's a problem that is bigger than just sports, unfortunately. But here we see it happening. And that wasn't what I called to talk about, but it got me kind of fired up because...
Yeah, I'm kind of fired up right now. I'm glad you're fired up, too.
I am, man, because if we don't see our past, we don't learn from it. And, burying stuff is no way to go.
No.
Anyway.
The biggest successes I've had in life are because of failures. Failure is the greatest learning tool there is in the world. And people, it's not uncomfortable at the time. It sucks to fail, but you learn from it. You move on. You make mistakes. You learn from it. You move on. As a country, we've made mistakes. As a game of baseball, we've made mistakes. But that's part of our history. That's the recipe that makes us a great country. That's the recipe that makes baseball the greatest sport in the world. If everybody was just a choir boy and everybody was just perfect in baseball, it'd be the most boring damn sport in the world. But the fact that we can talk about this era and that era and this umpire and this manager and this guy sucks and this guy's the greatest ever and this guy took steroids and this guy was an alcoholic, like it's a microcosm of life, man. It is. It's a reflection of the world we live in. And if we're gonna censor the Hall of Fame because there's some bad guys that might have done something in there, then we're not telling the true story about baseball. And 150 years from now, no one's gonna know who Barry Bonds was. And that's what pisses me off.
I agree. So I want to tell a little story. I'm a musician, and I know a lot of very good musicians, and I know some that can play every note and every rhythm perfectly, but it doesn't sound right because they don't have the feel. So I think in baseball, when you get too much analytics going and you don't use your eyes, you fall down and you mess up. Like I agree with you about Sean Manaea tonight. He should have been left in, but we can say that after the fact. It's easy to say, but I played about 10 years, Little League, Pony League, high school. I couldn't play in college because I hurt my back. I don't remember ever taking a called third strike. I've never seen so many called third strikes. What's the percentage of chances that you're going to get a hit with the bat on your shoulder? I don't understand it. Maybe you can explain it to me.
Yeah, I've seen it.
The other thing is...
Yeah, go ahead.
The other thing is so many fastballs down the middle. I mean, even if you're looking for a zone or you're looking for something else, if you're going to see a fastball coming down the middle, aren't you going to swing at it?
With two strikes, my approach was fastball adjust, because if you're looking off speed, you can't get to a fastball. So you sit on a fastball always with two strikes, and then, if you're way out in front, you try to put something in play one-handed. Maybe you flip one over the infield, get a hit. But if you sit off speed with two strikes and they throw a fastball, you got no chance. So my last command, my last mental command was,
seeing if it's close.
I would say fastball adjust. Yeah, and I didn't like to leave it up to umpires. I struck out looking. But I also felt like I was hard to strike out, and that was one of my strengths. And getting back to your music analogy, do you think like Jimi Hendrix ever read notes off a podium where he was just like, "Oh yeah, let me play my guitar to these notes"? No, he was just free flowing, dude, like just making it up as he went, and it was all feel. And I will say this: if you don't use analytics in today's game, you're just left in the dust, man. You are. So,
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to, but I feel like sometimes they're in the guys' heads. They're in their heads so much, some of these players. I just feel like they're tangled up in their heads.
Could be.
The players, maybe they can't deal with it. Maybe the coaches are expert at it. But the players, they just seem, I don't know, they seem tangled up.
The way Gabe explained it to me, and I think I asked him last year when I first came back, and he said it's like a menu at a restaurant. You choose what you want to eat off the menu as far as how much information you want to digest analytically as a player. And then they acquiesce to each player's appetite, so to speak. So they're not forcing it down your throat. They're not like, here's X minus Y squared equals pi R squared, go hit. It's just, each player is different. Like J.D. Davis loves it. Like his swing is very mechanically oriented, and he knows every little. I played with guys like that. They know if they're like pinky toes facing northeast instead of northwest, and they lock it in and they get two hits. I was more of a field guy. I was like Jimi Hendrix. I didn't have any notes. I would go swing off the tee until my swing felt right. I couldn't even tell you what that is, but it was a feeling that I had, and when it felt right, I was done. I put the bat down, I went and showered and got ready for the game.
Cool.
All right, Alex, thanks for the call.
Yes.
Let's take a quick break. I see a bunch of calls on hold, bunch of text messages. We'll get to your calls. There's some stories I want to get to, but this is our show and it's caller driven. So I'll get to your calls next on the Sports Leader.
Download the all-new KNBR app. Now, KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo continues live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
So I went to the store tonight and they had high chews. Do you guys know what high chews are? It might be my favorite candy ever. I have quirky favorite candies. High chews or Kinder Bueno white chocolate. Have you guys had Kinder Bueno bars? It's kind of a European thing. I was in the airport in Heathrow the other day, and you go through customs, and they have wherever you can shop, what do you call it, duty free, and they had the Kinder Bueno bars, and I bought a case home with me. I have a sweet tooth, but the high chews tonight, I'm crushing the high chews. High chews are fantastic. I have a black cherry, blueberry, and raspberry is what I bought tonight. And there's a store in Japantown that has like any flavor you can imagine and a whole wall of them. I was like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. And I only bought one bag because I just didn't want to like overindulge and become a diabetic overnight. Like I could eat these things all freaking day. And literally, trust me on this, if you go online on Amazon and you order Kinder Bueno white chocolate, it's like a cookie bar covered in white chocolate with like white nougat in the middle. And it's just like creamy nougat.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. I'm telling you, it's the best candy bar there is. And it's kind of like Twix. It's got 2 bars. It's unbelievable. If you've ever tried it, it's literally the #1 candy bar in the history of the world. All right, let's go to Robert in San Mateo. Robert, you're on the Sports Leader. What's going on?
Hey, FP, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I had a couple things. So you were talking about how the Baltimore Orioles broadcaster was suspended for the graphic. I found it interesting that it was the broadcaster, the person who said the words, that was suspended, but not the person who like put together the graphic. Because I don't think those are the same two people, right? Like that graphic had to be made ahead of the show. Yeah, and then they had to show it when he was talking about it.
Yeah, let me tell you how that works, Robert. You have a production meeting every day. And usually what would happen with me is my producer would text me during the day and say, what do you want to do in the opening of the show? The opening is where you come on camera and you say, and tonight's game, Matt Cain's going for the Giants. FP, he's been good his last 3 starts. You're like, Matt Cain, his last 3 starts is 3-0 with a 1.74. His career record against the Padres is this. His sinker-slider combination has been great. Opponents are hitting 175 against him in his last 4 starts. And you try. The open is designed to get the fans interested in the game. To me, it's the most overrated part of the broadcast. Nobody's even home yet, but it's what's the most effort is put into it every single day. And you agree, disagree on what you're going to do. And I would say, it got to the point where my producer and I were on the same page, like a double play combination. I'd say, hey, I'll make whatever you do sing tonight. Just tell me what I'm doing. I'll make it sing. And in this case, this is the producer, the director, the graphics guy, and the on-air talent. And they go over because then you got to throw it to the analyst and he's got to comment on it. So this was a pre-produced thing. On top of that, Robert, every single day a team puts out what's called their game notes. So with the Giants PR department's the best in baseball. I'm not just saying this because I'm on the air. I've told them it to their face. There's nobody better with the public relations department than the San Francisco Giants. Their team is amazing, led by Matt Chisholm. Unbelievable. And they put out notes. Every team puts out notes every day. And it's the game notes. It'll say the Giants have won 10 of their last 12. They're hitting 212 as a team. Then it's got little highlights and snippets for every single player in the game notes. It goes over the starting pitcher for that day, his last outing, what he's done, how tall he is, whatever. And it's got every reliever, a little snippet on every reliever, a little snippet on every position player. Some teams put no effort in their game notes. Some teams put a lot of effort into their game notes. And it's very helpful to the media, the beat writers, and the broadcasters. Nobody better than the Giants. I'll put them up against anybody. The Orioles actually put this stat and this snippet in their game notes. So their PR department put it in their game notes that day. Sometimes you get your ideas for the opening out of the game notes because it's game 120 and your team's not playing well. They had a clunker the night before and there's nothing to talk about. Like, what the hell are we going to talk about today? So they went back and they found out that the Orioles had struggled against the Rays in Tampa. But look how far we've come. Do we have that sound, Raph, if you can find it, the Kevin Brown sound? I'll give you a second to find it because I'm ambushing you right now. And it's all he did was say, like, they've come a long way, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, this, to me, if Kevin Brown's going to get suspended, then the PR staff should get suspended, the producer, the director, the color analysts. I mean, but there's nothing, literally nothing he did wrong here in this whole thing, Robert. Nothing.
Yeah, because I mean, broadcasters say that all the time. Like, it's something that you just like kind of say and you don't think too much about it, and it's just absolutely wild that like an owner took that much offense to something that tiny. Like,
well, if you know the ownership of the Orioles, you'd probably understand.
Oh yeah, no, I've done plenty of reading on them. They're awful. They're among the many awful owners in the game. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of crazy. And then the second thing I had a question about is is kind of totally different. It is about baseball. It's about kind of bullpen games, because the bullpen games that the Giants run out are not the Johnny Holstaff type of, oh no, our starting pitcher got hurt in the first inning because he got hit in the shoulder and now he can't throw. Okay, now everyone in the bullpen has to throw one inning. Like, that's not what they're doing. They're not built that way. They have a lot of long relief pitchers. And I've been tracking this. They've given everyone plenty of rest. I think Gabe Kapler's done a pretty good job managing them overall. Like, he's not there's been a handful of times, like with the Ross Stripling, that I can remember. But for the most part, he's considering all the important factors, which a lot of people don't think about, like the rest, the situation, the upcoming matchups, and who you're throwing in there. Like, he's considering all those factors when he's putting guys in. And I think he's done a really good job managing these bullpen games with a bullpen that's like not built conventionally.
No, I agree with you, and he loves to mix and match and figure all these things out, because Gabe's a really smart dude. And for a guy that wasn't a bullpen guy or an opener guy last year, I've really come around to it. The one thing, the chance you take is all it takes is one guy to have a bad night, and then you're kind of screwed. But they've been doing a real good job. Robert, thanks for the call, man. I'm gonna let you listen to what this Kevin Brown, the announcer for the Orioles, said as soon as you hang up. Robert, thanks for the call. Really good stuff. I appreciate it. In case you missed it, we played it last night. We might have even played it the night before. This is what Kevin Brown got suspended for by the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network and the Baltimore Orioles.
This has been maybe the toughest ballpark to play in, but the Orioles have a chance to do something special today. They've already clinched at least a split in the series, winning 2 of the first 3, and they can pick up a series win behind Tyler Wells today. It's been a minute. The Orioles split a 2-gamer with the Rays in June. They had lost their last 15 series here at Tropicana Field. You have to go back to when our now colleague Brad Brock picked up the win in the series finale, June 25th, 2017, the last time the Orioles won a series here at St. Pete. Already got 3-2 at the Trop this year after winning 3 of 18 the previous 3 years combined. It is a stark difference, Ben, and it is not a bad Rays team. It's not like all of a sudden the Rays became slouches in the American League East. They've led this division every day but now 2, and the Orioles once again are back alone in first place.
So the Orioles are in first place. They tanked and were like the worst team in baseball for about 5 years, and they're back. And the reason they tanked is because their owners didn't spend any money. So now they're in first place, and the guy's referencing how far they've come, and somebody sitting at home after a few too many drinks or whatever figures, well, that pissed me off. You know what this reminds me of? You guys watch Succession? Like on HBO? It reminds me of like one of those, the kids on Succession, just going like, that's it, get him out of here. I don't want that guy on my broadcast anymore. I can't believe he said that. You're like, wait, what did he say? I don't know. I just don't like it. Get him out of here. So let's go to the phones. Let's go to Hector in the bathrooms. Hector in the bathrooms. You're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP, thanks for taking my call tonight.
It's really Los Banos, but I call it the bathrooms. But thanks for calling, Hector.
Yeah, no problem, man. I just, I just noticed a lot of mistakes that Giants outfielders making. Matos the other night, fumbling the ball, and then it was taking him a long time to throw it back to the infield. And then tonight, Peterson, just defensive play. That's not going to win you the World Series. That type of caliber of play is just not going to get it done. And then offensively, they're not bringing in their runners in scoring position. They're not knocking them in. But the other night, they scored 6 runs in the ninth inning. So, they did good, but it's like they do good and then they don't. They're up and down too much. And then, And I'm not sure if I like this bullpen pitching. They'll start a bullpen pitcher, go 1 inning, 2 innings, and I'm used to the traditional the starter starting the game. So what do you think? I mean, I don't think they're good enough to win the World Series. They might squeak in the playoffs, but I don't think they're good enough to win the World Series based on their play.
I think that'd be a stretch right now, but I always say, let's see how they're playing the last 2 weeks of the season. But the defense, for whatever reason, in the outfield, the series was not good. A.J. Pollock misjudged a ball. He took 3 hard steps in. The Matos play you're talking about, he had another one where he took a step back and then dove for a ball, but he didn't get a good jump. I don't think Luis Matos is a true center fielder. Doesn't mean he's a bad outfielder. That's it takes you got to have a lot of speed, a lot of giddy up, and a lot of want to catch the ball in center field and know that you're the captain out there to be a center fielder. It's the position I play the most in the big leagues, so I know a little something about it. Jock Peterson, he doesn't play a lot of defense. When he was a Dodger and he came up as a center fielder, he's a pretty good defender. I just think here's the thing: defense, Hector, is a mentality. Defense is work ethic. Defense is going out there every single day and working and honing your craft. And it's as an outfielder, you take one group in batting practice and you shag every ball that comes your way. And then maybe even stand out there for another group and do like a first step quickness and work on jumps. And if you're an infielder, you take ground balls before, and then you take some off the bat during batting practice to get the feel of exit velocity and the hops on the infield. When you go to a new stadium, say it's in Anaheim and you don't play there often, you'll have coaches fungo you balls, and sometimes the way the outfield grass is cut, the ball will zigzag back and forth, and you have to just kind of go get it. So there's all kinds of different things, how it reacts in the corner. I mean, there's ways to become a good defender. I think there's a certain ceiling as a hitter that you can get to if you work your ass off, but you can't go above that ceiling. It's based on what God gave you, and you can get the most out of your ability offensively. Defensively, I think you can become as good as you want to be. I think if you really have a work ethic and you want to take hits away and you take pride in your defense, that you can be as good as you want to be on defense based on work.
Yeah. One other thing, too, is I like how the Giants are bringing up prospects and letting them, show their skills, like Matos and then Luciano, even though they sent him down. But now you got Ramos, Julio Ramos, they just brought him up. Let him play. Let him, play a lot, show his skills. I mean, he's been a top prospect for many years. I mean, I got a lot of cards of him in the minors, and he's going to be this or that 5-tool player. Well, let's see what he's got. Let him get his 3-4 at bats every game to showcase his skills. How do you feel about that?
You got to earn your right to play. I mean, this is a playoff team as it stands right now. This isn't a showcase or let's see what we got kind of year. I mean, ideally, they would have went out and got a starting pitcher or another bat in the trade deadline. That didn't happen. And they didn't want to give up the prospects, and I kind of get that sentiment. But right now, you're kind of wondering when you see what Michael Lorenzen did in Philadelphia tonight, throwing a no-hitter, if somebody like him could have helped. Give Matos and give Ramos a look. But this is a bottom-line business. This isn't about seeing if they can play. This is you get your day in the sun. You got to shine, baby. You get one start. You got to do something to get 2 starts. You get 2 starts, you got to do something to get 3 starts. If you're not an established big leaguer, Felipe Alou used to talk about this all the time, that there comes a time in your career, if you're good enough, when you can walk in the clubhouse and you don't have to look at the lineup card. You don't have to look if you're in there. There's not a lot of guys on the Giants right now that can say that. Like Luis Matos has to look at the lineup card to see if he's in there. Ramos has to look at the lineup card to see if he's in there. Patrick Bailey, not so much. Blake Sable, there's certain guys that, well, I guess on this team, I guess you never know based on matchups. So scratch everything I just said. But this isn't the kind of season, Hector, where you see if a guy can play. If Ramos gets a chance and he gets 2 hits, you're going to get another chance. If he gets 2 hits the next day, he gets another chance. That's how this whole thing works. And then if there's a right-hander. Then if there's a right-hander, guess what? He sits next to the manager because he's right-handed. So I don't know.
Run. If you're playing under Bochy, if you hit a home run, you get a start the next game. That's automatic. I remember that. Schmidt, I hope he comes back. He's a versatile, plays a lot of info positions, and I really hope he just gets back to what he was when he was first brought up and gets that confidence back because I think he's a bona fide major leaguer. I think he's going to make it. He just has got to get back into.
He's got to get out of his own head. He's got to get out of his own head is what he's got to do. Hector, thanks for the call. Let's go to Alex on Interstate 10 near Arizona. One of the longest stretches of freeway in America. Alex, you're on right now. What's going on?
I mean, literally, there's nothing for like 100. There's nothing for 100 miles. Between,
how are you getting cell service if you're on I-10 near Arizona?
Okay, put it this way: the whole reason I was even listening to you is because you're coming in better than I guess the L.A. stations.
No, Alex, we're the blowtorch, man. 50,000 watts at nights carries. You know what's weird is I live a mile from the studio and I drive in every day and I can't hear us. Like I live in downtown San Francisco. And it's staticky. I listen to 680, not 104.5, because I don't know how to figure out the FM in my car. But like I drive to work a mile away and I can't hear us. And you're in Arizona and we're coming in loud and clear. I love it.
Yeah, no, I was shocked. You guys come in crystal clear at night, but like I said, I had nothing to listen to. The XM receivers on the fret, so I had nothing to that. So I put on the end of the Giant game. I put on the end of the Giant game. I got into India because I heard I'm from New Jersey originally. I'm a diehard Phillies fan. I heard Lorenzo have no hitter, so I pulled off in I think the fifth inning to watch that at Buffalo Wild Wings somewhere, and then. Got back on the road, but once you get up past, literally there's like one gas station for about 100 miles between Blythe and India.
So, did you watch Lorenzen's family? Wasn't that cool? His reaction to the mom was crying, the wife was crying. Yeah. He said that he's always wanted to throw a no-hitter. There's some interesting facts about this. I got to get to him for you real quick. About the Lorenzen no-hitter, and I wanted to cover that tonight. He'd never thrown a complete game in the major leagues before tonight. Wow. He threw a no-hitter. Only once had he gotten out in the ninth inning as a big league starter, and that was May of last year. His longest scoreless start was 7 innings, less than 3 weeks earlier, July 20th, the start for the Tigers, in which he gave up 3 hits against Kansas City. And then that was his first game in Philadelphia as a Philly. He pitched a no-hitter. How about that?
You know what's even funnier, and I didn't realize this, and you played for them, right? You played for the Nationals, right?
Well, when they were the Expos, yes, and I was a broadcaster for the Nationals. But, yeah, I played for them before they moved to D.C.
Okay, I didn't realize that this was actually the first time. I'm sure the Expos might have had it, but I realized this is the first time that the Nationals have actually been no-hit.
It is, Alex. You know what? Felipe Alou always used to turn to the bench as a manager every single night, an A-ball in the big leagues, and he would say, there goes the no-hitter, if it was the first hit of the game. And he would always preface it with, like, you can't win a game if you don't get a hit. It's the first thing you have to take care of. So as a broadcaster for the Washington Nationals, Felipe Alou was one of my biggest influences in life. On the broadcast every night, I would say, when the Nationals got their first hit, there goes the no-hitter. And I would get criticized for people that didn't watch the broadcast before it. It was my sneaky little tribute to Felipe Alou, who was one of the biggest influences in my life. So every time the Nats got their first hit, the first inning, second inning, third inning, I'd say, there goes the no-hitter. It became a thing. They put it on the scoreboard. There was T-shirts. And you kind of teach the fans that that's the first thing you got to take care of every night to win a baseball game is get a hit. You can't win a game without a hit. And that is that's the first time they've ever got no hit. I said it every single broadcast I ever did there. There goes a no hitter. And tonight, if I was still there, I would have said it. They got no hit.
Yeah, but another thing I want to bring up, transition over to the owners, to the thin-skin owners. MSG has been notorious for this for years. Madison Square Garden. They've been notorious. I think that's why how Marv Albert got fired was. They've been notorious for that for years. I think they actually banned a different radio station, not their station, but the other sports station for criticizing the team. So, I mean, this has been going on forever. I mean, there's pettiness among ownership, but no, I mean, Kevin Brown, I mean, this is the same guy pitched. No, it's not the same guy pitched for the Orioles, is it? Or
No, it's a young up-and-coming announcer. Has anyone ever told you sound like Roman Roy from Succession, Alex? Like your voice is like...
Never watched it. I have never watched it, and I'll be honest with you, I hate the sound of my voice.
No, you got a great voice, dude. It's distinct. But nobody likes their voice, dude. I can't stand hearing mine. If I hear replays or a commercial I did, or I hear myself on the air, I can't stand my voice. I can't stand it. Like, I hate it. I think everybody does because you hear it differently. And then, yeah, I can't stand my voice.
All right, I'll let you get back to the rest of your show.
Thanks for listening in the desert, Alex. If you get stranded, call us back. We'll send out AAA for you or something.
You know what? Honestly, I might. If I ever get stranded at night, I will call the station. Hopefully, somebody in the desert's listening nearby because I think you have better range than the CB radios.
Also, Alex, if you see UFOs, give us a call because I feel like in a desert between like LA and Arizona, that's a good spot. You're kind of by Area 51, right? Sort of.
No, 51. No, Area 51's in Nevada.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe you're by Area 52.
Like 2 hours north of Vegas.
I think you're by Area 52 or 53, like one of those areas. Just give us a call if you see like something flying around.
Well, what's funny is I'm in Blythe, California right now, and there's a little airport, and like you'll see I think it's where they test planes and stuff, because you'll see all kinds of weird planes, because I worked at 10 basically from the Arizona New Mexico border to LA, so you'll see all kinds of weird planes and stuff from that airport in Blythe.
Alex, also, if you feel like burying a body, you're in a good spot too right now. I don't know what you got in your trunk, but that's like a good spot too, like 10 right there before you get to Arizona.
Yep.
Yeah, that was scary. All right, Alex, take care, man. All right,
you have a good one.
I like you a lot, Alex. So take me off your people to kill list. Alex is really sweet. I really like Alex. He just said, "Yep." There's somebody in his trunk right now. There's somebody in Alex's trunk. Duct tape, ether.
Sounds pretty gross.
Yeah, hog-tied and duct tape in his trunk. Alex, it's not nice. But I really like you, Alex. I really like you. You're super nice. Just take me off your people to kill list. All right, I got to take a quick break at the top of the hour. I have no idea where we're going next. We're going to talk about Michael Lorenzen's no-hitter. We got some sound for that. And there's a story about Jed York. It's the lead story on ESPN. I got that next for you on The Sports Leader.
This is the flagship of Giants baseball. Double play! KNBR and KNBR FS San Francisco, the Sports Leader.
The 3-2 pitch. Swung on, popped up, shallow center field. Rojas sprinting in, he's under it. He has space, makes the catch, and Michael Lorenzen has thrown the 14th no-hitter in Philadelphia Phillies history. He is being mobbed by his teammates as the Phillies shut out the Nationals 7-0. 124 pitches and a masterful celebration. Tip of the cap to Rob Thompson. He gave a young man a chance to do something that only the special ones are able to do.
Welcome to Philadelphia, Michael Lorenzen.
Michael, we've been enjoying watching your mom the whole night.
I bet.
I got to ask you, we mentioned your family. What do you think your dad would be thinking right now?
Man, I don't know. Yeah, you got me emotional now, but if you're just saying attaboy, way to finish it.
And I think way to finish it is Powerade bath. Way to finish it is the way to do it. Michael, we've been enjoying watching your
FM at 104.5 FM. Now back to KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo on the sports leader.
Yeah, Michael Lorenzen threw a 124-pitch no-hitter, the 14th no-hitter in Phillies history tonight. His dad passed away in 2016, so he lost it right there with the post-game interview. There's so many cool things about this. His family's reaction was amazing. But he had never thrown a complete game before in the big leagues. He threw a no-hitter tonight. Only once had he gotten out of the ninth inning of a big league start. Gotten an out in the ninth inning, That was last year. His longest scoreless start was 7 innings less than 3 weeks ago, July 20th, for the Tigers. And then in the first game in Philadelphia, as a Philly, he pitches a no-hitter. So how many players who played in this year's All-Star game, which Michael Lorenzen did, were traded at the trade deadline? Exactly one, Michael Lorenzen. And 2 starts later, he throws a no-hitter for the Phillies in a pennant race, in a wild card race. Since the trade deadline was moved to late July in 1986, only one pitcher has changed teams at the deadline and then thrown a no-hitter for his new team. That was Mike Fiers. There's so many incredible stats about this. How rare is it for any pitcher to twirl a no-hitter in his first start at home for any franchise? Maybe this will sum it up. This is from Jason Stark on The Athletic. Lorenzen was just the second player to do it in the last 125 years. And he's the first in more than 6 decades in his first home start to throw a no-hitter. So that was really cool tonight. He was a two-way player, remember, in Cincinnati. Big buff guy, hit jacks, played the outfield too, and now he's just a pitcher for the Phillies. He was available from the Tigers at the trade deadline. The Phillies swooped him up, and he threw a no-hitter tonight in his second start. Really, really cool story. Very cool to see emotion out of a pitcher. And I don't know, it takes me back to big-time Timmy Jim. It takes me back to Matt Cain's perfect game, Tim Lincecum's no-hitters. It's just, I don't know. It's fun. And here's the thing I wanted to mention. The no-hitter is back because of the shift, because of the lack of the shift. There's no, swings where there was a 14 hopper and the shortstop's not standing there because there's 3 infielders on the right side. People are standing where they're supposed to again in baseball. So there's no weird ground ball hits like you used to see and pitchers lose their mind because they pitch to weak contact, nobody's standing there. People are playing in the positions they were meant to be played in the game again. So there's chances for the no-hitter, I think, more than ever before. And it's cool that really in a hitter's ballpark at Citizens Bank, and that his first start is, that guy's never going to pay for dinner again in the city of Philadelphia the rest of his life. He's always going to be Michael Lorenzen no-hitter for the Phillies. Raph, maybe you can help me with this. 14 no-hitters for a franchise seems like a lot. No matter how long you've been around, that seems like, I don't know. I'm going to Google right now on live radio, most no-hitters franchises. I would say that has to be at the top. Dead air is always good while you're Googling on the air. Dodgers have 26. The Dodgers have 26 no-hitters. The White Sox have 20. The Red Sox have 18. Guess who has 17? Giants. Giants have 17 no-hitters between the New York Gothams, the New York Giants, and the San Francisco Giants. Cincinnati Reds have 17 no-hitters. The Cubs have 17 no-hitters between the White Stockings, the Chicago Colts, and the Chicago Orphans. The Chicago Orphans. They had no pop.
What?
They couldn't hit home runs, the Orphans. No pop at all. The Houston Astros and the Colt 45 had 16. I mean, if you don't laugh at that, you don't even have a sense of humor because that was really good. The Cleveland Guardians, the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Bluebirds, the Cleveland Naps. The Cleveland Naps? There's a team named the Naps. I want to play on that team because around 2:30 every day, guess what I do? Take a nap. Cleveland Naps. They had 14 no-hitters. The Atlanta Braves, 14. They were the Boston Red Caps, the Boston Bean Eaters. That's a crappy team. The Boston Doves, the Boston Rustlers, the Boston Bees, the Boston Braves, the Milwaukee Braves. The Phillies, we just said that was the 14th, but they were also the Philadelphia Quakers. They rode to their bullpen car was a horse and buggy. The Oakland Athletics, the Philadelphia Athletics, the Kansas City Athletics have 13. The Yankees and the New York Highlanders have a combined 13. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim have 12. Nolan Ryan was probably most of those. The St. Louis Cardinals, the St. Louis Browns, and the St. Louis Perfectos. Did you guys know that there was a St. Louis Perfecto? I mean, don't you have to win every game if you're the Perfectos? How many perfect games did the St. Louis Perfectos have? They had 10 combined. Orioles, 10. The Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers are the only... There's no other name for them. They've had 9. The Minnesota Twins and Washington Senators, 7. The Washington Nationals and Montreal Expos, 7. I saw 2 Max Scherzer no-hitters and a Jordan Zimmerman no-hitter. I've called 3 no-hitters. So I was there for 3 of those. I think Dennis Martinez had 1. I'm trying to think who the other Expos were. Had Pirates and the Pittsburgh Alleghenies had 6. Miami, Florida Marlins, 6. The Padres only have 1. Do you know who it is? 808 KNBR. I think I know. It's not Kevin Brown. He was one of the Marlins. He threw it against the Giants. At Candlestick, I believe. Marvin Bernard was last out. I want to say Randy Jones threw the no-hitter for the Padres. Can somebody Google that and see if I'm right? The Tampa Bay Rays have had 1. The Rockies have had 1. Crazy enough. I think Hideo Nomo is the only one to throw a no-hitter at Coors Field. I think it was in 1996. I'm just spitting all kinds of knowledge, so I must have got a nap today. The Blue Jays have had 1. The Mets have had 2. Johan Santana was one of those. I'm guessing Tom Seaver, the other. Milwaukee Brewers or the Seattle Pilots have had 2. I'm boring you, but the no-hitter, Tom, I'm stealing Tom's line because I think it's one of the best lines I've ever heard. A complete game is the new no-hitter. Like if somebody's throwing a complete game in the big leagues, you're texting your friends. They're like, Logan Webb's going for a complete game. So-and-so's going out for the 9th. And before it used to be no-hitters. Now it's complete games. But good for Michael Lorenzen. He seems like a good dude. He's kind of got that Jeff Samardzija thing going with the long hair. He's got guns for days. He lifts a lot of weights. The Brooklyn Atlantics is another name for the Dodgers. The Brooklyn Grays, the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. Could you have a team called the Bridegrooms now, or would that be offensive? It's like, hey, I'm a bridegroom. I've only been a bridegroom. I've never been a bride. I'm just a bridegroom. And that's offensive to me. You can't name your team the Bridegrooms. Sorry. You're going to have to change your name. Oh, then there's the Brooklyn Grooms. Well, maybe that's offensive to grooms, too. I've never been married. You had the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. You had the Brooklyn Grooms. You had the Brooklyn Side Pieces. You had the Brooklyn... I'm killing myself. The Brooklyn Superbas? What is that? The Brooklyn Superbas? Superbas? The Brooklyn... The Super Bras? The Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers? I know that's how they got Dodgers. Trolley Dodgers. You get run over by those things once. That's it. The Brooklyn Robins and then the Brooklyn Dodgers. The Boston Americans. Let's see how many of these would be offensive today. The New York Gothams, the New York Giants, the New York Red Stockings. It's offensive to any other sort of stocking. The Cincinnati Redlegs, the Houston Colt 45s. No way you could be the Colt 45s nowadays. There's just no way. There's just, you couldn't be named after a gun. Isn't that what that is? Colt 45? The Cleveland Bluebirds. I don't know. I kind of like that. Cleveland Bluebirds. All right, James in San Francisco is going to bail me out of this segment. I thought it was entertaining, but I like to entertain myself. James, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP, how you doing, man? Just got in the house and get to see the game of it, but I was very curious. Cleveland, I know they were called, but actually originally they were called the Broncos. They were called the Broncos, and then they were called the Blues and the Naps is because Nap LaJoy, he was the manager. That's how they got that. And also another name you didn't have in there. They were called the Molly Maguires because majority of the team were Irish.
No way. I got to check that out. This is just the teams that threw the no-hitter. So, yeah, those could be. So then we would be the San Francisco Gabes.
Yeah, and then also for you mentioned Detroit. Believe it or not, Detroit was a National League team at one time. They were called the Wolverines.
Good knowledge, dude. Yes, tremendous knowledge.
And one more thing, I think one more team I remember. It was a nickname. You mentioned Philadelphia. They were called the Quakers, but they were also called the Blue Jays. Just to throw that in for measure.
Really?
Yes.
All right, I'm on Google right now. I'm looking at all the different team names in the history of baseball. But what do you got for me tonight, James?
Well, to say I didn't get a chance to catch the game, but I am kind of curious about the. I know I remember they were trying to get some pitching the Giants were, but I think Mr. Farham, I guess he said, "Hey, I am not giving up any prospects." And I mean, pardon me, but I guess you don't want to throw away the future just to try to get a wild card. So other than that, I know they still have a shot, but I would tell you what, there's still a lot of baseball left, and that's what keeps going on right there. So other than that. They still have a chance to do the destiny. You got the Rangers, and then you got the Tampa Bay Rays coming in. So I think they still have a shot, but it's gonna be hard work the rest of the way.
Yeah, James, I think they are what they are at this point in the season. I think they're going to flirt with 10 games over. They might get a little hot, get to 15. I'm hoping that happens. If 20, I don't see 20 right now based on how streaky they are offensively. And if they need to They need to play great defense and pitch every night because there's not a lot of room for error. So I would love for them to just go off and win 10 in a row and be 20 games over, and we're all feeling it. And that would be cool if it happened the month of September. What I said last night, and I believe this, if they can stay 10 games over through this gauntlet they're going through of a schedule into September, I think we're in good shape. But they got to keep that cushion. I don't want them getting back toward 500 because then now you're slipping out of playoff range.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well,
all right, James. Good knowledge, dude.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. I'm gonna take a quick commercial break right now. We're gonna pay some bills, and then I'm gonna come back and maybe we can find some team names that are awesome because these made me laugh. Some of the Southside Hitmen, that refers to the 1977 Chicago White Sox. You couldn't have a team or a nickname called the Hitmen now. Oh, I got to check this out. All right. More of your calls. 808 KNBR is the number. Giants lose to the Angels tonight. They're coming home. They got a day off. And then Bruce Bochy, Texas Ranger, coming into town on the Sports Leader.
Yeah, I certainly threatened on a couple of occasions, and one big hit away. I think Tyrell smoked that ball, and Moustakis made a really nice play. He had a good series, so you tip your hat to them for making that big play. But yeah, I thought we strung together some good rallies, and I thought we made good swing decisions throughout, and at the end of the day, it wasn't enough.
Follow KNBR on Facebook. This is KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo on KNBR 104.5 and 680. The sports leader.
Little Radio Gaga from Queen. I love Freddie Mercury, by the way. Whenever I'm feeling down around the house, I play Queen all day. I mean, his performance at Live Aid was one of the best concerts in the history of concerts. So I would be remiss if I didn't report this, since we are the 49ers network. It's the lead story on ESPN and Sports Illustrated. The headlines are 49ers CEO Jed York accused of insider trading in lawsuits per report. San Francisco 49ers CEO Jed York is facing 2 lawsuits accusing him of insider trading violations of federal security laws related to his role on the board Santa Clara-based education company Chegg, C-H-E-G-G. The San Francisco Chronicle reported Wednesday the suits allege that Chegg board of engaging in gross mismanagement, unjust enrich, and making false and misleading statements and filing the SEC. The claims stem from a cheating scandal the Chegg board is accused of covering up. My interest level in this is 0 to -0. I just felt like, based on we are the sports leader, I had to report it. This is a nothing story to me. We'll see how it develops. I couldn't care less about this. I clicked on it just because it said 49ers. I read it just because it says Jed York. I don't know what's going on. I don't have an opinion on this because guess what? I don't care about it. So maybe the other shows tomorrow talk about it, but I had to do my due diligence and let you guys know that was the lead story right now going on, probably the last couple hours on ESPN and SportsIllustrated.com. The Brooklyn Bridegrooms got their names because several of Brooklyn's players spent their offseason, guess what, getting married. And that's how they got the name the Brooklyn Bridegrooms from 1888 to 1898. So for 10 years, they were the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. That is hilarious. The Brooklyn Superbas. When vaudeville ruled the entertainment world, there was a popular group in Brooklyn named the Hanlon Superbas. In 1899, Ned Hanlon took over as the manager of the Brooklyn team. The press linked the two despite Hanlon's non-relationship to the vaudeville group and their own judgment. The Brooklyn Superbas. Now, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Did they have bad fans too? The St. Louis Perfectos. Now the St. Louis Cardinals. This is the last one on this baseball reference or this Fangraphs thing I'm looking at, Hardball Times. The Cardinals, whose classic name predates even the bird, went by this name for what seems like one season in 1989. After the Cleveland Spiders, by the way, I thought the Cleveland Indians should have renamed themselves the Spiders. That would have been sick. You got a Spider-Man night. They got Spider-Man costumes. They had Peter Parker night. I don't know. I think they dropped the Guardians. I know the Bridge Guardians and all. I get it, but the Cleveland Spiders would have been dope AF. The Cleveland Spiders owner Frank and Stanley Robinson purchased the franchise, then known as the Browns or the Brown Stockings. Plenty of sources pointed toward Frank coming up with the name himself. The answer, Gilbert, in a follow-up email, wrote, I think that it is likely that the St. Louis club promoted the name Perfectos because the name suggested quality and class. Yeah, just ask the Cardinals today. They still think they invented baseball. Literally. Just ask them. They invented baseball if you go to St. Louis. A Perfecto cigar was an expensive rich man's smoke. Not that other commercial products use the name in the same way. There were racehorses named Perfecto. So I guess they were named after a cigar. Really, really interesting stuff when you think about it. But some other interesting stuff that's going on in the news today. The whole Kevin Brown thing and the whole A's thing is really what I wanted the meat of the show to be about tonight. That the A's were kicking fans out for shirts that said sell the team. And, being a part of that franchise for a year, I was very lucky. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever gone through, one of the funnest times of my life, being a member of the Oakland A's. Seeing Jason Giambi come on the field this weekend and being retired is inducted into the A's Hall of Fame wearing the green jacket. Ricky Henderson was there. Tony La Russa was there. Joe Rudy was there. Gene Tennis was there. Dennis Eckersley was there. And then Carney Lansford was inducted. Gino Tenace, Gene Tennis was inducted. And when you think about all the history that organization's had over the years, the World Series champion, Campy Campaneris was there this weekend. And all the tremendous names and teams throughout the course of history. And kind of what it's evolved into right now. It's a bunch of young kids trying to find their way. And there's some good young players on that team right now. And it was fun to do the series this weekend and see them. It was also fun to see people in that ballpark. And I remember a few nights running out of the dugout where we were playing the Red Sox or the Yankees, and I'd run out to second base and look up, and there was $50,000 at the call-up. And it was just like, whoa. And it was fun. It was our World Series. Yeah, we won 102 games that year. We were the wild card team. The Mariners won 116. We won every single night, it felt like, the second half of the season. It was one of the most epic runs ever. Google 2001 A's record at the All-Star break, and I think we were 2 or 3 games over 500 at the All-Star break. We finished 102-60. That's winning every damn night, pretty much. And it was just a fun ride. So when I see what's going on there now, when I see what that organization has become, there's a lot of good people over there. There's a lot of good baseball people over there. There's a lot of good players in that organization. Maybe not ready for the big leagues yet. Maybe learning at the highest level, which is the hardest place to learn. But to see fans getting kicked out because they love their team breaks my heart. To see fans that want the team sold to somebody that would actually keep the team in Oakland getting kicked out of the suite section because they had a shirt on that says sell breaks my heart. Like, what is so bad about wearing that shirt? Why is anybody over there so offended by that? Because you won't sell the team? Because you're getting bad publicity? I mean, the A's are the lovable loser right now. I would say most fans in baseball, including Giants fans, feel empathy for that organization and what they're going through and their fan base. And then I'm not sure if it was because of time constraints, but apparently NBC Sports California edited out the 5th inning of the A's game where the chants of sell the team were the loudest. I've heard rumors, and I don't know if they're true or not, that the broadcasters that laid out that was a bad thing, apparently. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just a rumor. When they were told to talk over it, I heard. So all of these things that are going on are concerning. Like, if they would have just built a stadium right there, it didn't have to be all fancy on the waterfront with billions. Just build it right there. Look what they did in Anaheim with the Big A. That's a beautiful stadium when you walk inside of it now. And it used to be a dump. You could have refurbished this stadium and made it sing. You could have kept all your players and been a contender. Like, there was so many good players back in the day, whether it was Giambi or Johnny Damon or Eric Chavez or Miguel Tejada or Zito Mulder and Hudson or Jason Israel. I mean, just the names throughout the course of Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, like Carney Lansford, Ricky Henderson. I mean, there's just name after name. The history of that organization is so full and so proud. And then throw the record aside, whatever. It's more about the philosophy right now and what's going on. It's just sad. We had a caller one night that I think it was last night, made a really good point that he's going to miss going to A's games while the Giants are on the road, that he's a Giants fan, but he loves baseball so much that he always has options when a team comes to town to just drive across the bridge and watch another baseball game. And that's kind of what I did as a kid. Growing up in Sacramento, it would be like, oh, let's go see the Tigers are in town. Let's go see the Yankees are in town. And we go to the Coliseum. And then becoming a Giants fan, it didn't really matter who. We were just going to a Giants game because we wanted to go to Candlestick. And then when I went to Cal my freshman year, we would cut class during day games and go to like the matinees and get in for $10 and then sneak into the box seats at the Coliseum. Sometimes we drive over the bridge and go to Candlestick Park for day games, sneak back for practice. So it just sucks the way this whole thing has been handled. And I just don't understand. And I guess I'll never understand a billionaire's mentality. Because I guess everything in your life has always been really, really good. And if somebody tells you you're not good or you're wrong, you don't know how to handle it because there hasn't been a lot of adversity. I don't know. I don't know John Fisher's history. I don't really care, really. I don't know John Angelos' history by pulling a broadcaster off the air for just stating facts. I don't know. But it seems to me we're treading in dangerous, dangerous territory as a society. That we're censoring what you can wear at a ballpark. Now, if it's a big middle finger and it says, F you, John Fisher, okay, there's kids. But if it just says sell the team and you're asked to leave, or you're going to air certain parts of broadcasts and let other parts go, you're going to pull broadcasters off the air because they say something that you deem, I don't know, that rattles you. This is just getting weird, man. This is not how it's supposed to be. I hope somebody buys a team. I hope the A's stay in Oakland. I wore the white shoes. We called them clown shoes. Jason Giambi called them clown shoes. I wore the clown shoes, and we wore them proudly. Now a lot of teams are wearing white cleats. But back then, we were the only ones that wore white cleats, and that was an adjustment, man. That was weird looking down and seeing white cleats. Now I just look at highlights right now, and all the Diamondbacks have white cleats. Some of the Giants players wear white cleats. White shoes are in. It's a different time. But, man, it'd be cool if they could keep a team. And not just keep them and go 30-80 or whatever they were when they started the Bay Bridge series. Like, keep them and be competitive like they used to be, like the good old days, like the Moneyball days, and find a way to win. Billy Beane's a great dude. He gave me a second chance in the major leagues. I'll never, ever forget it. He's a wonderful human being, and I'll always be thankful. That year in Oakland was one of the funnest times I've ever had in my life. So as we move forward, hopefully we don't kick out fans for wearing T-shirts that the owners don't like. Like, how did that go? Did they have a meeting before the game with all the ushers? And they said, hey, look, if somebody has a Cell shirt on, you politely escort them out. I would have been like, really? You can politely escort me out right now because I quit. That's what I would have said. But somebody, I mean, S rolls downhill, right? Somebody told those ushers that they were in trouble if those people didn't leave. So we got a glimpse of Shohei Ohtani. We saw what he's all about against our team, against the Giants. What did we think? Is this a guy worth paying $800 million to? Because it's between 6 and 8 now is what you're hearing, because it's two really good players, right? It's a 10-5 pitcher, and it's a guy with 40 tanks. Would he come to the Giants? Do you think he would be a San Francisco Giant? Does he think this team is stable enough to win for a decade if he signs a 10-year deal? Who's going to protect Shohei Ohtani in this lineup right now if he does sign? Is he going to walk 200 times? Is it just going to be Barry Bonds Part 2? He still gets to pitch every fifth day and DH when he pitches. Gone over that already. I don't know. I would love to see him here. I think it'd be great for the city. I get kind of deep on this. I'm working with a charity that's apolitical called We Love San Francisco, and we are trying to change the way people look at this city from the outside. And it's kind of a cool thing to be involved with. And I think it'll help everybody if a Shohei Ohtani comes here. And I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that people would move back downtown to go to a few Giants games to see this guy. They had 36,000 tonight. It was the biggest crowd of the series because he pitched. Remember when Tim Lincecum's every fifth day was an event at the ballpark? And there were so many walk-ups every time he pitched? Well, just imagine Ohtani, even just as a DH. Maybe you go to work on the office that day and you're in town. Maybe you decide to start going back to work and not working from home because of one player for the Giants. It's a stretch to say that it would revitalize this city, but it wouldn't hurt. It definitely wouldn't hurt things. You guys know, we know more than any region, winning is fun. Everybody wants to be associated with a winner, whether it's the Niners, the Warriors, or the Giants. Everybody wants to get on that bandwagon. And that's super cool. Like, everybody loves a winner. So I don't know. I think it'd be great. It's fun to watch him play. He's such a presence at the plate, man. He looks like he's 7'4" when he hits. He looks like the big kid in the Little League game that reached puberty before everybody. He does. And he plays that way too, and he wants to win. So if there is two teams that are bidding for him and the prices are the same, he's going to go to the one where he thinks he's going to win more. He got a taste of that in the World Baseball Classic. The guy wants to win, and he hasn't won crap in Anaheim. And I know a lot of Angel fans that think that Artie Moreno is going to sign him back. I don't know. I don't. Why would he stay there? What's his motivation to remain a Los Angeles Angel? I'm not sure at this point. I mean, they had Trout, they had Rendon. They're just not winning down there. And they never have. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, coming up next on the other side of the break, we're going to replay the post-game wrap for you. It's the most popular show on our station. I think it's the funnest part of every broadcast. So on the other side of the break, we're going to replay the post-game wrap next on the Sports Leader.
Download the all-new KNBR app. Now, KNBR Tonight with FP Santangelo continues live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Has anybody ever made a rap song called the Post-Game Rap? I mean, I think that'd be funny. And then you kind of throw to it with like somebody rapping into the post-game rap. But here's the boys tonight after the game. Here is tonight's post-game rap after the Giants lose to the Angels.
Okay, post-game wrap time here from Anaheim, and it's going to be a quick one. The Giants are trying to hustle out and get to the airport to get home at a reasonable time as this road trip comes to an end. Mike Krukow back in San Francisco with us on the post-game wrap, and tough one tonight for the Giants, Mike. The Giants only give up 4 hits, but the one big swing of the bat with the way the Giants' offense is going these days was enough for the Angels to win the game and win the series.
Yeah, 2 things kind of stood out tonight. Giants had 6 walks given to them, and none of them scored. And the other one was Ohtani. He wasn't sharp tonight. I mean, he really got it done with basically 2 pitches, and he made pitches when he had to. But I mean, that's what pitchers do. No matter what stuff they have, what command they have, they find a way to make it work. And he got it done. I mean, he goes 6 innings and gives up 1 run, but the Giants' offense just cannot take advantage of those opportunities. And then the other thing, the Gabe Kapler, I'm anxious to hear what he has to say about why Mania left the ball game in that inning where the Angels put 4 runs up after a leadoff double to Renifro, the shortstop, and a 0-2 count with Ohtani, left-handed hitter, coming up. Mania, who had struck out 6 in 4 innings, and he had, 64 pitches thrown, he comes out of the game. So I don't know if it was fatigue. We obviously don't know what the dialogue was in the Giants' dugout in regards to that, but and I'm sure Gabe had a reason for it, but I want to hear what it is.
Yeah, I mean, anything we would say is speculation. I'm sure Gabe's talking about it right now. My pure personal guess was just, his usage has kind of changed here a little bit. He's been a shorter reliever in most of his recent outings, and so you do wonder whether 60 pitches or so, that's the second most he's thrown in the last 2 months. He's only had 1 outing over that going back to early June. And so maybe right now, actually, as well as he's pitching great. Maybe he's not quite as built up to go longer in games. That's just purely my guess.
Well, let me ask you a question before we get to Kaipe and John, because, and I know we want to be brief, but I was here in the studio. Was it humid on the field tonight?
I mean, it was definitely humid before the game. It was muggy. It rained, which is almost never happens. I think once the game got going and the sun went down, it was pretty comfortable out there. I guess it's hard for us to tell for sure, but I don't think that would have been a huge factor. But it was a little more humid than you'd expect in Southern California.
Yeah, I thought Monday night, weather-wise, was a lot warmer, maybe tougher to play in than tonight. But anyway, we'll see what the explanation is. I guess what I'm disappointed in is after that win on Monday, you just kind of figured that the Giants are just going to keep rolling offensively. And they did yesterday for a while, but they had that gap where for 7 innings they didn't get a hit. And I know Shohei Ohtani's no easy task, but I agree with Mike. He did not have his best stuff tonight. And they're just not hitting as a team with the exception of 1 or 2 guys. And, they still need the big hit.
And it did seem, and again, where this is all speculation, that going into that 6th inning, because Mania was on a roll. He had just retired the side in order on 8 pitches in the 5th inning, and it struck out the side the inning before that. But Beck was already up before that inning even started. So it made you wonder if he was not long for this game, and maybe it was as simple as that. But and that's always the question. You go to the bullpen, you take the guy out who's going really well, and you're not sure. You hope that guy who's been have a record of being good, you hope he's good when he comes in that spot, because Beck was coming in to face the meat of the order, all the big guys, They gave the automatic walk to Ohtani, but and he ended up showing a great slider, excellent breaking ball several times, but not to those two hitters he had 2 strikes on. Drury got the hit, and then Moustakas hit the home run. So, and that was the game.
Well, that's the issue one might have with bullpen games. Everybody's got to be good. You got one guy that's not good, and you end up giving up 4 runs. So.
And if your offense is going well, okay, you give up 4 runs, you still win the game. But
you win 8-4.
There's no margin for error right now.
Yeah, I vote for that. Win 8-4.
8-4.
Yeah.
All right, before our picks, just quickly, our drive of the game sponsored by your Bay Area Chevy dealers. Visit BayAreaChevroletDealers.com. And, clearly the drive of the game was the Moustakas 3-run homer. Michael Conforto's double, and he scored the only Giants run. That's the Giants drive of the game. Our post-game wrap picks sponsored by Chef's Toys, California's #1 choice for food service equipment and supplies. Visit chefstoys.com. Kipe, you want to go first tonight?
Yeah, the other thing I want to point out is the Giants had severe warning track power in this series.
They did.
I bet there was 6 balls caught, in front of the wall. But anyway. All right, well, I'll take Sean Manaea. He's found a role that he's really good in. And he was good tonight.
He's pitching great right now.
He really is. And he made a really nice play on a ball that was lined right back at him.
A great play.
And he made a good play at first on a Wilmer Flores throw. So anyway, Manaea.
He's just doing a great job.
Pick.
Good pick, Kipe. John, who you got?
Well, I'm going with Brandon Crawford. Very steady night at short as always, but he knocked in the run back in the 2nd inning, and then he crushed one off that right field wall and got the Giants going in the 9th inning. So he kind of opened the door for give them a chance for another comeback. So on a night where there wasn't a whole lot of offense, Crawford had a very nice night.
Good pick, John.
Good pick.
Attaboy. Nice going.
Mike, who you got?
Well, I'll take the opener. I thought Ryan Walker went out there and dealt. He winds up striking out the side, and he gives up a knock. But he is filthy dirty. My goodness. So I'm tipping my cap. Ryan Walker, who's having a really nice year.
He'll never forget that strikeout of Ohtani.
Never.
Him away.
Never.
He never will forget that.
Ever.
Good pick, Mike. Okay, well, my turn. I could take Lamont Wade. He had one of those deep fly balls to center field that I thought he hit out. I'm going to take Conforto. We haven't taken Conforto in a long time. They need him. They need more out of him, not just tonight. They need a lot more out of him. But he drew a walk. He hit another ball really hard to left field that might have been a home run on a different night. And he had a good double against Ohtani. So I'm hoping that's a sign that good things are coming from Conforto.
Wait till you see this weekend.
The Rangers have no idea.
It's going to be unbelievable.
All right.
No idea.
Here comes Conforto.
Conforto's my guy. What's on deck? Sponsored by your California Ford dealers. And just one quick thought, Kipe. Tomorrow, off day. Giants get to rest up. And Bruce Bochy and the Rangers will be there on Friday.
Boch, and it's going to be great.
It is.
And the fans are, they'll pay tribute to him as they should. And unfortunately, Mike and I are not working. So we're going to have to wait to see him on Saturday, but you guys get to see him.
You guys will be
Friday.
listening to us on Friday.
I fully intend on not turning the TV on.
Mike, you on board with that plan?
No, I'm going to be there. My daughter Tessa is going to be singing the anthem on Friday, so we're going to be there to support her and say hello to Boch along the way. So I'll be in your booth watching my daughter sing.
Please come by.
Well, she does a great anthem.
We'll see you on Friday.
That'll be the best anthem of the year.
Can't wait for that.
All right, you
let's
guys
let
travel
DC
safe.
Pack up. Thank you, Mike.
See
What's
you
on
Friday.
deck? Sponsored by your California Ford dealers and the legendary Ford F-150. Visit buyfordnow.com to find it yours. Quick highlights right now.
A quick post-game wrap. The boys had to get on the plane and head back to San Francisco for the big weekend series against the Texas Rangers. Tomorrow's off. We'll be here from 6 to 10 p.m. tomorrow night. It's a full show. Can't wait to talk to you guys. 808 KNBR. We'll get the phones going. We'll have a good show put together for you. Raf, good job as usual tonight. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the calls. You guys are the best. I love you. You keep me going. It's my favorite part about this show is talking to you guys, the callers, every single night. I have the best listeners in all of Sports Talk Radio. I'll see you guys tomorrow night from 6 to 10 p.m. Turn on Murph and Mac in the morning. Listen to Papa and Lund. Listen to Tolbert Copes. Check me out at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Like I say on the way out every single night, swing hard in case you hit it on the Sports Leader.